King Charles III of the United Kingdom visits the Leighton House Museum in West London. Members of the Norwegian royal family host a gala dinner in Oslo. And Prince Albert II and Princess Charlene of Monaco create art for an upcoming exhibition in Monacoville. All this and much more coming up next on your Royal Daily News. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Alexandra, and this is your Royal Daily News for February 9th, 2023. In Monacoville, their Serene Highnesses Prince Albert II and Princess Charlene of Monaco participated in the 8 March Monaco initiative, organized by the Comité Droits des Femmes, held in the Court of Honor at the Palais Princier. The theme of this year's initiative is Women and Sport, seen through the prism of the new generation. Each year, members of the princely family of Monaco, along with government officials, athletes from AS Monaco, Monégasque citizens, young and old, and residents of the principality, create a small piece of art that will eventually be created into a large collective piece by artist Mr. Anthony Alberti, also known as Mr. One Tease. Not teasing, but tease like you have one T. Anyway, the final collective artwork will be unveiled on March 8th, 2023 at the Musée Oceanographique de Monaco in Monacoville on the occasion of International Women's Day. In Brussels, His Majesty King Philippe of the Belgians held a meeting this afternoon with the President of the Republic of Lithuania, His Excellency Gitanas Nausėda, at the Palais Royal. Yesterday morning, His Majesty the King held an audience with the CEO of Umicore, Mr. Matthias Mederich, again at the Palais Royal in Brussels. According to the Belgian Royal Court, discussions focused on, quote, Belgium's leadership role in batteries for electric cars and the recycling of high-quality materials for the green energy transition, end quote. In London, Her Highness Hereditary Princess Cleo of Oettingen-Spielberg and Lady Amelia Mountbatten-Windsor attended a dinner at Harry's Bar last evening to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Erin, Beauty and Hair. The dinner was hosted by Miss Erin Lauder. In London, His Majesty King Charles III of the United Kingdom received letters of credence from newly appointed ambassadors to the United Kingdom at Buckingham Palace. The newly appointed ambassadors are from the French Republic and the state of Samoa. Thereafter, His Majesty the King held an audience with Canadian astronaut Mr. Chris Hadfield. In the afternoon, His Majesty the King visited the newly restored Leighton House Museum in West London. According to Buckingham Palace, the purpose of His Majesty's visit was to, quote, hear about the artistic partnership with Turquoise Mountain, the charity founded by the then Prince of Wales to preserve and develop traditional craft practices across Afghanistan, Myanmar, and the Middle East. The King viewed a suite of specially commissioned furniture by Turquoise Mountain, which has been handmade for the museum by Syrian and Jordanian artisans based in Amman, whom His Majesty the King met while visiting the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan in 2021. His Majesty heard about the intricate craftsmanship and design process behind the pieces, inspired by motifs found on a Syrian chest acquired by Lord Leighton during his travels. The King also viewed the first piece of contemporary artwork commissioned by Leighton House, an 11-meter-high mural located in the museum's helical staircase. The piece was inspired by a poem by 13th century Persian poet Rumi and explores the themes of unity and common humanity. His Majesty met the Iranian artist of the mural, Shahrazad Ghaffari, as well as members of staff from Leighton House. In Battersea, Her Majesty the Queen Consort of the United Kingdom visited the Storm Family Centre to celebrate the charity's 19th anniversary. According to Buckingham Palace, the Storm Family Centre, which supports people affected by domestic violence, began by, quote, helping 4 women and has grown from strength to strength in the last 19 years. It has supported around 3,000 women to date and over 1,000 young people. The charity is key to the community and helps those in need of employment and assistance. It offers childcare services, career and training courses, and extensive youth work. The Storm Family Center also has its own nursery, complete with a sensory room, to cater to children with special educational needs and who have suffered trauma and abuse." End quote. During today's celebrations, Her Majesty the Queen Consort spent time with domestic abuse survivors and participated in various activities that Storm provides, including candle making, art lessons, and computer classes. At the end of the day, Her Majesty the Queen Consort unveiled a commemorative plaque and met with Ms. Sabrina Elba, a patron of Storm, as well as with Ms. Kaya King, CBE, the founder of the Nobel Awards and supporter of the Storm Family Center. Meanwhile, their Royal Highnesses, the Duke and Duchess of Cornwall, began their one-day official visit to the town of Falmouth in the beautiful Duchy of Cornwall. During today's tour, the Duke and Duchess visited the National Maritime Museum, participated in a walkabout where they met with hundreds of well-wishers, and spent time at the Cristina Center, and much more. On the island of Saba, Their Majesties King Willem-Alexander and Queen Maxima of the Netherlands, accompanied by their daughter, Her Royal Highness Princess Catharina Amalia, Princess of Oranje, concluded their 2-week official visit to the Dutch Caribbean. Upon their arrival at the airport, the royal family was welcomed by the Superintendent of Saba, Mr. Jonathan Johnson, and other local officials. Soon, the royal family arrived at Solar Park, where they learned about the energy supply on the island. In the coming years, Saba, quote, aims to become energy neutral, end quote. Thereafter, the royal family traveled to Zion's Hill to attend a presentation on lace making, a Saban tradition. An hour or so later, the royal family participated in a walkabout where they met with local residents on the windward side of the island. At noon, the royal family visited the Eugenia Center to watch a theater performance as well as meet with local artists and business owners about their work. As if they were not exhausted by now and perhaps dying for a Mai Tai, the royal family visited the Harry L. Johnson Museum, where they learned about the history of the island of Saba. After a lovely luncheon with local government officials, the royal family visited the Expertise Center Education Care in St. John's. Then they visited the site for Saba's new harbor project, met with local marine scientists who gave them an explanation about sea urchins, which help protect the coral reefs by eating the algae that would otherwise overrun the coral. The day finally ended at the bottom, where they played with local kids. In Maseru, His Majesty King Letsie III of Lesotho held an audience with the British High Commissioner to the Kingdom of Lesotho, His Excellency Harry MacDonald. In a statement, the British High Commissioner said, quote, "It was an honor to meet His Majesty King Letsie III to build further on the close ties between our two kingdoms. His Majesty had sage thoughts on ways in which we can deepen our cultural connections." End quote. In Doha, His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Emir of Qatar, presided over the graduation ceremony of the 18th Batch of Cadets from the Ahmed bin Mohammed Military College. In the afternoon, the Emir inaugurated the Strategic Communications Building and the Remote Sensing Building of the Qatari Emiri Signal Corps and Information Technology outside of Doha. Meanwhile, 2,849 miles away in Södermanland County, Sweden, Their Majesties King Carl Gustaf and Queen Silvia of Sweden began the first of their 21 county visits on the occasion of His Majesty the King's Golden Jubilee year. The day began bright and early with Their Majesties arriving at the Nyköping Central Station, where they were welcomed with open arms by Governor Eva Beatrice Ask and a bunch of other local government officials. Soon, Their Majesties were off to the Södermanland County Museum to view various exhibitions, including the new photo exhibition entitled His Majesty the King, 50 Years for Sweden. The exhibition showcases iconic photos of Their Majesties carrying out official engagements throughout Sweden since 1973. After a walkabout where they met with hundreds of well-wishers and a nice luncheon held in their honor, Their Majesties walked to the Great Square to attend a mini Jubilee concert. Prior to the start of the concert, His Majesty the King gave a speech stating, quote, "The Queen and I are celebrating this Jubilee year by visiting all the counties in Sweden. And nothing could be more fitting than starting right here in Nyköping, which has so much history and is one of Sweden's oldest cities." End quote. In Oslo, Their Majesties King Harald V and Queen Sonja of Norway, accompanied by His Royal Highness Crown Prince Haakon of Norway and Her Highness Princess Astrid of Norway, Mrs. Ferner, hosted a diplomatic gala dinner at the Royal Palace. Unfortunately, Her Royal Highness Crown Princess Mette-Marit of Norway did not attend this evening's event. The reason for her absence is unknown at this time. In addition to foreign ambassadors and their spouses, members of the Norwegian government and the mayor of Oslo, Miss Marianne Borgen, were among the 155 guests. The menu for this evening's gala dinner included salmon tartare, seaweed chips and tomato broth, as well as shellfish sausage, potato dumplings, pumpkin, and pickled onions. For dessert, chocolate tart with blackberries and ice cream. Anyway, the traditional diplomatic gala dinner dates back to the reign of King Haakon and Queen Maud of Norway. And finally, in Paris, His Majesty Emeritus King Juan Carlos I of Spain and his daughter, Her Royal Highness Infanta Cristina of Spain, attended the induction ceremony of Peruvian novelist, essayist, and 2010 Nobel Prize winner for literature, Mr. Jorge Mario Pedro Vargas Llosa, into l'Académie Française. In 2011, a then King Juan Carlos I gave the title of Marquess to Mr. Vargas Llosa. Mr. Vargas Llosa also personally invited the former king and the Infanta to attend this morning's prestigious ceremony. And there you have it. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow on Friday, February 10th with all the latest royal news. Until then, I wish you all a wonderful evening and a great Friday tomorrow. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, take care, everyone. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.